Today, man, I started reading a new book this morning. It was part of my morning routine. It's been a book that I've had set aside, just waiting till I could get to this point. It's called Personal Socrates. It's by Mark Champagne. It's a book that I was introduced to via Baron Fig. If you happen to listen to my podcast, Joey Cafone was a guest of mine about a month ago. He is the owner, principal behind Baron Fig, and he's published a few books, including this Personal Socrates. And in this book, as I'm getting started in the introduction, Mark talks about his own experiences, learning to ask defining questions. He soon found out, and Joey led him to this, where asking those questions was following the Socratic method. So I'm encouraging you, if you're not familiar who Socrates is, the great philosopher, I encourage you to dig into that. But I'm going to share a little bit of what Mark kind of wrote this book about. And part of it is this idea of asking questions. Being our own Socrates is really choosing to ask questions to force us to reflect. Mark talks about it in the concept of journaling. For those of you who've been around, last year we read the book My Daily Leadership, and it was all about journaling from Antonio Garrido. And what was exciting about that is I started the habit, and I'll be honest, I've lost the habit. I need to restart the habit, especially what I mark, but I also reflect and think about this right here, or the outline that I have for the day of my morning readings, different thoughts and ideas. In this thought of the day, it's really my journaling platform. It's what I do to journal. And it's this idea of asking and reflecting and just learning and growing. And so I want to transition now to this thought of the day. And this is my thought of the day, is get into the habit of asking, what would make today great? Now, I first thought about that in this idea of what would make today great, asking yourself. But then I thought about how often we run into others, we talk to others, we interact with others. And why not ask the question of them? What would make today great? It's kind of one of those sales cliche events. What would make this offer great? What would make this happen? But be genuine. What would make today great? And I ask you, if you ask yourself, for those joining in, hi, Sarah, what would make today great? And think about that. Maybe think about yourself, jot down some notes, but then ask others. Because you may actually have more insight of yourself to say, oh, I didn't think about that. Or, hey, thanks for sharing. Thanks for being here. As always, appreciate the comments, the hellos, the value you got from this. The best value you can give me is actually sharing it with someone else. If you got value from this, share it with them. And let that start the conversation along the path of what would make today great. Have a good one.